It is the 2025 Monaco Grand Prix. We are back here for the Monaco Grand Prix for 2025. Here, this is Monte Carlo Round 8 at Monaco. We are in for the final practice session of the week, and we have an interesting session above us. 3.337 kilometres of circuit, 2 miles, 297.9 kilometres an hour, top speed, 42 metres in elevation, 78 laps, and 1 minute 12.9, which we've already seen broken as the race lap record around this circuit. It is not an easy circuit, and we've seen that so far. It's the hard, the medium, and the soft compound tyres that we are using this week, and the softest, the C6, the C5, and the C4, and the hardest being the C4 of the hard tyres. Here, FP3, the FIA Formula One World Championship final practice session before qualifying a little bit later on today. This is a very important session for everybody out there here to get into a bit of a rhythm before qualifying, get some qualifying laps in, as the boats all tend to find their spots on the harbour and see these Formula One cars race rounds. 38 degrees track temperature. Here the ambient is 37 degrees ambient here, so still quite hot, and it's quite humid as well, which is just making it that a little bit more out there. It's not nice as the fans line up and wait for the final practice session for the cars to head out onto the circuit. Here, final practice. This is really important for everybody out there, but it's just as important to get as many laps down as possible. It's time for some qualifying simulations here. We saw a lot of race runs yesterday on the soft compound tyre and a lot of race runs on the hard compound tyre, and practically race runs on every tyre. Oscar Piastri leads the Drivers' Championship at the moment by 13 points over Max Verstappen, George Russell, Leclerc, Hamilton, Antonelli, Albon, Ocon, and Lance Stroll in P10. Stroll, the only person that has taken points for Aston Martin. Ollie Behrman on screen will take a 10-place grid penalty and 2 penalty points for an overtake under red flag in FP2. Bit of a problem for him. But Oscar Piastri takes the Drivers' Championship. Lance Stroll, though, will take a 1-place grid penalty and a 1 penalty point for causing a collision with Leclerc in FP1. So there you go. Lance Stroll there will get a penalty for that one. 1 spot grid penalty on a penalty point as well, so 1 point taken off Aston Martin's championship. In terms of the constructors this season, it has really been dominated by, it's 152 points between McLaren and Mercedes. It's going to be quite an interesting race weekend to see if Ferrari can try and drop their margin that they have 17 points to Red Bull. I reckon that could probably happen here because in front of the Italian fans, there are a lot of Italian fans here this weekend. I reckon we could get a interesting session here for everybody out there. Leclerc in 5th in the Drivers' Championship, 61 points. He's still got quite the margin. He's got about 80 points to find between him and Oscar Piastri from 5th to 1st. So still quite the margin of points to find, but he will tend to find, I'm guessing he will find a lot of those points here this weekend. Green light is about to come on at the end of the pit lane for the final time here in FP3. And we'll get some more racing laps. There you go, the green light is on at the end of the pit lane. It is now time to go practice 3. Time to go here. FP3 underway. And 60 minutes of practice is obviously not enough time. So final practice here before qualifying. This is going to be important here in Saturday practice. Final practice session before qualifying. Very, very important. As Lewis Hamilton fans are watching on here, it's going to be quite epic here. If Lewis Hamilton can get on the podium, it will be quite the reaction from the crowd here this weekend. But of course, the race, the Sunday Grand Prix, still quite the mile away. Oscar Piastri getting suited and booted, getting ready to jump in his car, talking to his engineer, talking to the team. But this session, very, very important here. In terms of the car performance from Australia to Imola, we found that McLaren are fastest over Red Bull, Mercedes, who have gained nearly 0.1, Ferrari have gained 0.04, Racing Bulls have lost nearly 2/10, Williams have lost 2/10, Haas have gained nearly half a second on Alpine, Aston Martin, who have really fallen off this season, and kicked Sauber down there as well. Because Aston Martin, they've struggled to score points this season. Red Bull have not gained whatsoever. So there you go, that's the car performance. Looking there, Max Verstappen also looking on as well. That's a pretty good form. Japan 6th, Japan 1st, Bahrain 6th. Italy, he got a win. He was very happy with that win. And something which will most likely help him in the upcoming races, because every win matters here, because, you know, if you just without one win short, it could possibly cost you the Drivers' World Championship a bit later on, but now it won't cost him so much. He's in 3rd, 17 points off Lando Norris, and that margin can quite easily drop. Franco Colapinto starting out on his soft tyre run. Of course, this session, I think there's 3 sets of soft tyres that these teams can use. I think there's only 2. I'm not sure, but there's somewhere close to 2 or 3 sets of tyres that these drivers will be able to use. Franco Colapinto heading through the chicane. At the moment, he's purple to the first sector. It's 21.7 to the first sector. Of course, he's the only one currently out there on a flyer. I mean, at 0.4. There, so nearly about a second in terms of pace on this lap here, when we did see 58s yesterday. We're getting close to 57, so he's a few seconds off the pace here, but we'll see what this lap is from Franco Colapinto. It's not going to be quick. 1:21.9. That's actually nearly 11 seconds off the pace from Franco Colapinto. Nearly 11 seconds off the pace there for Colapinto. So not exactly indicative there. Kimi Antonelli looking on. They've got the tyres bolted on that car. Kimi Antonelli not so much bolted in the car though. This year for the Monaco Grand Prix, there are 2 mandatory pit stops for the race, so it'll make it a bit more strategy. There'll be a bit more strategy involved this weekend. And how you use those 2 pit stops is going to be quite important. Now, we did see 2 pit stops at Imola, except they weren't mandatory. It was just 1 mandatory pit stop that you had to do. This year it is 2 mandatory pit stops that become mandatory. 2 mandatory pit stops this year. Liam Lawson on a lap at the moment. He's definitely 5 seconds quicker than Franco Colapinto on this lap. So this lap's going to be looking a little bit better. That second sector, but it's probably going to put him to the top at this point in time. We'll see what this lap is like. 15.852 from Franco Colapinto. We'll see what this lap is now. 16.0, so just a little bit far off. 0.2 off there, but I don't know why I'm talking about lap time so much. Let's see what the Sky Sports commentators have to say.
Such troubles today, and look at that. Franco Colapinto keeping out of the way very nicely indeed for this man Liam Lawson to carry on his push lap. Lawson yesterday top 5 for Racing Bulls, who confirmed to me, yes, they did have the engine tweaked up a little bit. Nonetheless, confidence boosting for the young man from New Zealand.
Yeah, he needs it, doesn't he? It's been not been the easiest year in Formula 1, but lovely to see him put in a good lap yesterday. And it was his teammate actually that had the incident.
Yes, it was. Right, into the daylight we come once again, dropping down to the Nouvelle chicane. That's where his teammate hit the wall with his rear tyre on the left yesterday. No such problems for Liam Lawson, and through to back he goes.
But it definitely felt like one of Liam's better days of race, wasn't it? Like, he was there or thereabouts, and, you know, through practice, and seemed to be developing the pace with every run quite nicely. So, it's a funny one for Liam Jensen, isn't it? Because last year, he looked good when he was dropped in it alongside Yuki. His confidence after the Red Bull experience must have been on the floor, but the talent is still there. It's just want to see if he can rebuild that.
That's the thing, waking it up again, isn't it? Because if every time you get in the car you think, I have to beat my teammate this weekend because he's trounced me over the last few, it's really, really difficult. You need to be able to just arrive and think, you know what, I'm just going to go out there and do my best. And forget about the rest of what's going on in the world around. But it's tough.
Father, son, and new superstar down at Mercedes. He had the privilege of being the boss. You bring the family to work.
Well,
Nice.
Yeah, and young Jack Wolf is now in karting, isn't he? So, Mercedes 2040 driver, maybe? Who knows?
Give me a better watch out then, to be
He'll
honest.
still be around, won't he?
Yeah, correct. Just to pick up on Liam Lawson though, just remember back to his F2 days, 2021 here, where he had an F2 sprint victory. Yeah, I know he was disqualified, and it was an illegal throttle map and that, but we know he can go well around here, and he's proven that in the junior formula. And the track is very low grip, as you would expect, which explains why people are staying in the garages for some time.
But you know what? It doesn't get better if everyone stays in the garage. It just gets hotter.
Yeah, it's not magic, is it?
No. But yeah, you say that, but every single week, that seems to be a theory, that it will get better if we just stay here for a little bit longer. 20 years have passed since Williams last took a podium finish here in Monaco. Could they possibly have that on their CV by the end of this weekend? And certainly looking strong yesterday. So Liam Lawson, fastest man, times from just him and Franco Colapinto. Lewis Hamilton went out in a set of hearts just to scrub them in and then return to the pits.
Heard there Liam Lawson speaking about the track grip being extremely low. That is to be expected because, of course, the sun is being down and it's quite slippery, the circuit, when there's a lot of sunlight on the circuit. You tend to get that quite a bit with that sort of stuff. But, of course, we will continue on here with this session. So this session, it's going to get quite important for most people out there. We see Esteban Ocon make his way out of pit lane here with just 47 minutes to go in this session. Nico Hulkenberg, he's the fastest car out there, just behind Hadjar, 13.916, but it shows just how low the track grip is. Very low track grip. So it's not helping because the sunlight is on the circuit. So this session is probably not going to be as an indicative session as what FP1 and FP2 was, because of course you've got practice early on in the morning and then practice very late in the day, and now you're out here in FP3 and it's beaming down with sunlight. It's not going to be good because it's practically 10, 11 a.m. and then you've got to go back qualifying 3 p.m. when the track's going to be a bit more rubbed in from Formula 3 and Formula 2. So it's going to be interesting. Isaac Hadjar, he not the best lap for that lap, 1:13.965, but of course, heard Liam Lawson say, track very low grip, to be expected. Nico Hulkenberg, fast lap so far, 1:13.916. Pierre Hamlin on screen there for Isaac Hadjar in the Racing Bulls car. It is Lewis Hamilton on screen at the moment, and his personal best first sector is about a couple tenths off Nico Hulkenberg on this first lap here, but we'll see how Hamilton, Ferrari have been really, really good here this weekend so far. We'll just see if that continues as he breaks into the braking zone of turn 10 and makes his way through the chicane. Important lap, this one, because, of course, qualifying simulations going on here. But qualifying sims around this circuit, Hamilton there, 0.017 up. So, 1,000th up on Nico Hulkenberg on this lap. We'll see what this lap is like for Lewis Hamilton. As he runs through the final chicanes. And over the line, that is P2. So, the track is not looking in the best of shapes at the moment. Nico Hulkenberg, his lap is standing 1:13.916. Lando Norris heading out onto pit road and making his way out onto the circuit, but there's still 70% of the field that still needs to head out. Alonso, Stroll, Verstappen, Norris, Antonio Tsunoda, Albon, Sainz, and Russell. Norris just made his way out onto the track. Oscar Piastri still in the pit lane, his teammate. Charles Leclerc at the moment on a lap. Personal best first sector, not as quick as Nico Hulkenberg on the medium compound tyres, 1:13.916. Of course, we did see a 10.2 yesterday. We're nearly 3.7 seconds off the pace of those lap times, but the track will continue to grip up here, hopefully, and we'll start to find a bit more better lap time. Hamilton, the rear is sliding a lot, and that is probably because of the low track grip that there is at the moment. Very, very low track grip. Yeah, that's probably the reason why. Leclerc coming to the line, there's a yellow flag. Not sure where that is. Leclerc P6.4 for pace, 14.3. So not 6. Oh! And that is Nico Hulkenberg in the fence at the Tamburello. Oh, no, that's not Tamburello. Sorry, I'm thinking about Imola. That's, well, the final corner there. He's just nudged the wall, I think, for Hulkenberg, as he's just run through the chicane and then made his way up into Casino and then gone to, front mode just locked up. Straight on.
Went straight on. That's what happened there. Just didn't have the grip. There's the Ferrari just zipping through saying thank you very much.
So Nico Hulkenberg there just saying, not sure what happened. Yeah, that was quite strange, but he still leads the session at the moment, 13.916. Not many people have actually done a lap, as Lando Norris is currently on a lap. Expect this lap to be a little bit more shiny here for Lando. He's 0.1 up on Nico Hulkenberg at this point in time. He's done a 19, he practically matched Hulkenberg in that first sector there, so this lap's not going to be too bad, but the track is worse for wear at the moment. Under the bridge you'll be finding a bit of time as well, because there's not as much sunlight, but you're beamed with sunlight as you come out of the bridge. They absolutely beamed with it. Lance Stroll has just gone to the top of the session here, but Sector 2 for Lewis Hamilton looking quite quick and just been stolen by Lando Norris. He's 0.1 up at the moment. Nico Hulkenberg has just been topped by Lewis Hamilton, who's just gone to the top, followed by Stroll, and then Hulkenberg at P3. See what this lap is for Lando Norris. 13.4 from Hamilton. This lap for Norris, it is a 12.9.7 from Lando Norris. Already, Liam Lawson 12 laps complete, Colapinto 12 laps complete, Hadjar 10 laps complete. Verstappen fastest first sector at the moment. Leclerc being quickly taken. That lap just been quickly taken there, but nearly half a second, quarter of a second from Norris to Hamilton. This lap is going to be pretty good from Verstappen. At this point in time, we'll see what this is like through the chicanes. The final time in Verstappen over the line. We'll see what this lap is. P2, not good enough. Around about 0.1 off Leclerc. Goes to the top by 0.2 of a second. It's a 12.712. So the track not in the best of conditions here in the opening session. Let's hand it back to the Sky Sports commentary box.
Also still in the garage. I think he's the only one, Trophy, although Alpine are about to bring one of their cars in. Just checking on the Aston Martin. I can't see there's no work going on to it. And he looks all ready to go. So, yeah, Stroll out, but also not yet out there. Interesting, just watching from the pit lane, the McLaren's just bouncing over that curve on the exit of the swimming pool, but able to land the car and then get straight on the gas. So that looked pretty good. Alonso going out now, by the way, on the soft side.
As Yuki Tsunoda, also on the medium tyre, goes fourth fastest, we've got a real mix there in the top 10. 5 on soft, 5 on mediums. So it's not just the race, JB, where the strategy comes into play.
Yeah, exactly. It's and then also when you're going to use your tyres. If you prefer the medium tyre, when will you actually use that? Will you save it for Q2, Q3? It's a tricky one. So
I suppose it depends on what you think your ultimate best lap is going to be, and then what the ultimate target time for getting in or out of various sessions is going to be.
realistically, you would think the soft tyre just should be better around here. Not so many high-speed corners. But you go for the medium in Q1, as you mentioned yesterday, because you need to do more laps on the tyre because you're going to have traffic for many.
Caveat to that is, do you need 2 sets of mediums for the race? Because if you look at the tyre sheet at the moment, nobody's, you haven't got more than 2, have you? So you might, I think that's the trade-off.
Yeah.
If you did one run in Q1, as you're suggesting, those tyres still should be okay to do a stint in the race.
Yeah.
So I think those are the conversations to be had before you get to qualifying.
Not if you're being on like 10 for your second stop.
Yeah,
That's the only thing.
So that's what I mean. There's lots of sort of permutations in that.
Lando Norris puts 3.5 tenths between himself and Charles Leclerc. The way it's shaping up, you might just get your wish here, where they run a hard, medium and soft in the race tomorrow.
Because I think the thing to point out, Coffee, is to make the strategy work, unlike we saw in a place like Miami, right, where it's about bringing the tyres in gently to get longevity, it's absolutely opposite.
Yeah.
You have to go out of the pits and hammer the tyres on the outlap and whatever bit of free air you get as soon as you come out of the pits. You absolutely have to just hammer it, even if you lose performance later on. The gain is going to be in that early car.
Carlos Sainz and Lewis Hamilton getting close together on the entry to Casino Square. Hamilton was going a lot slower.
Tried to get out of the way, I couldn't see past the car that was behind me.
And an explanation there as to why he wasn't completely out of the way, or far enough away, for Carlos Sainz's liking. So tomorrow's race, because overtaking, is kind of rarer than snow on a camel's back when it comes to Monaco. It's all about racing against the clock, isn't it? How fast can we do this race? And will that be enough to get to the checkered flag first?
Well, and also, how early can we do our last stop? That's normally the way, isn't it? How early can we do that last stop and hold on for the rest of the race? And interestingly, looking at the tyres, it's McLaren and Hamilton lacking 2 sets of the medium tyres. So you'd say would be at a disadvantage if we're thinking that the tyre for the race is the medium.
Yeah. You can do 6 laps on the medium here, still taking it to the race. If you were using them in qualifying, but you wouldn't want to if you could get away with it. We're watching Charles Leclerc on the stopwatch currently, another fastest first sector from him. If you want to ride on board with Charles Leclerc, you can of course do so, and we are riding on board with him. On the left-hand side of your screen, there's a QR code for you. It'll help you get to your Sky Sports app. Use your Sky Sports ID to log in. Sky Glass, Sky Q, Sky Stream on now, customers. Just press the interactive button on your remote control. Team radio and onboards all available for you. And by the end of the qualifying, if you're using the onboard channel, you'll be watching from behind the sofa with your hands covering your eyes. But it's frightening there.
Like me right now. I love that little drift from Charles through Rasgas. He just got the rear nicely rotating to get the good exit.
And it worked for him, 10th and a half up on Lando Norris. Carlos Sainz, point scorer in each and every one of his 9 Monaco Grand Prix that he has started. And crosses the line 10th fastest only for Williams. Karun Chandler. Why is there 3/10 difference between Leclerc and Norris in the first sector?
It's where he was strong. Yes,
I think that's just got put the first sector.
yeah, but I mean, we sort of saw that difference yesterday, didn't we? But between Leclerc and the McLaren. First sector in Leclerc's favour, middle sector McLaren. The middle sector is a load of slow corners. You go through, Grand Mirabel, the hairpin, Portier, and then the chicane. Whereas the first sector is a bit more flowing. You've got the punch up the hill as well. And high speed, we know is the strength of the Red Bull. We saw it in Imola, the first sector there, they were very strong.
Verstappen to the end of the middle sector, 34.2, which is pretty decent, but once again he was quite strong in the opening parts of this lap. Remember when he got pole ahead of Fernando Alonso here, Max Verstappen in 23, and he took 2/10 out of Alonso's time just on the final sector, which is pretty unheard of here at Monaco because it's such a short sector. Goes fastest.
It does, and at that point, if you've pushed really hard, especially on the soft tyre, then they've taken a pounding, especially traction.
That's the Alpine right in the way there, and I don't think it could really have done much to get out of the way. Quite frankly, Franco Colapinto was the car. He actually goes fourth fastest.
He did have a little snap with Raskas as well. I don't know if that was the issue because of the dirty air in front. The car was going so slow, unlikely, so I think he was a bit on the nose there anyway.
Gabriele Bortoleto heading up the hill now and through turn 2 and turn 3, which technically only turn 3 and turn 1 is technically a corner. I wouldn't really count. See, those short corners, I don't count as corners. I don't see as if they're corners. Gabriele Bortoleto being held up by the Alpine in front of him, that's going to be a big talking point in qualifying. Here, if the traffic can't get sorted out, Isaac Hadjar running under the bridge, and that is the definition of quite close there. And Isaac saying over the radio, man, that was dangerous by Yuki. So going real slow under the bridge, and Isaac Hadjar will pop out any minute. There you go.
Great.
Sonoda there saying it was not ideal, that was my fault. There, Gabriele Bortoleto up the hill, and this is the moment that I was just talking about with the Alpine. Oh, no, this is the bump with the wall at Casino Square. There, so a bit of a bump with the wall. Surprised we haven't seen a big accident so far this weekend. The only big one was FP1 and Oscar Piastri in the fence, but that was only broken the front wing for Yuki Tsunoda, for Oscar Piastri, so he was lucky to get away with that. Yuki Tsunoda heading through hotel section and up through the final corner. Verstappen fastest to the first sector, 18.64. See what he can do. Tsunoda up into P2, so Red Bull 1-2 at the moment, 12.05. Verstappen 11.961. Russell P6 at the moment. This lap not looking very good. It stays P6. Yellow flag out there somewhere. Verstappen is on a lap and he's improving by quite the chunk at this point in time as he runs through the swimming pool section and into the hotel section now for Verstappen. And purple to the first and second sector here around Monaco. What's this lap going to be for Max Verstappen? He's improved by nearly 3/10. That's 11.653. Leclerc improving, and so is Lewis Hamilton. These two could possibly go 1-2 at this point. Hamilton P2. He has done an 11.876. Leclerc will go to the top, and it is a 11.5 from Leclerc. So the track improving, gripping up a little bit, and we're seeing many improvements. Alonso moves up to P9, 1.1 seconds off the pace though. He's done a 12.6. Bit of a rush hour there from the top four, so that's a really good job there from Yuki Tsunoda. In P4, half a second off the pace, 12.05. It's a pretty good lap from Yuki Tsunoda. Not much could possibly do there for Leclerc. There's not really any traffic, so that lap was pretty good. Esteban Ocon as he's now running through the hotel section, and it's Yuki Tsunoda. He completely blocked me. The American team there of Haas. But this is Oscar Piastri, P7 at the moment. He's nearly a second off the lead. He's on the soft compound tyres now. And they're about 7 laps old, these tyres. So I'm not going to expect anything spectacular from this lap of Oscar Piastri. As he now runs up into the first corner. Good run. It was actually a really smooth run as well. He got off the curb quite nicely and hit the first apex, which was very nice from Oscar Piastri. What's this first sector going to look like here for Oscar? About 0.3 off. So these tyres are starting to fall away from Oscar. Being 7 laps older, he's about 0.3 off the pace. He's 0.3 off the pace, so it's about P3 at the moment for Oscar. He had a bit of a slide as he came out of turn 11. As he came out of turn 8. Bit of a slide. This is turn 10 for Oscar. Let's see how close he gets to the wall. Quite close. Verstappen on a lap at the moment on medium compound tyres. Purple first sector. Piastri, not so much improving. He's about 0.6 up on his personal best here. So this lap's not going to be that bad. It's going to be about P6. So move him up 1 spot for Oscar Piastri. Verstappen improving first sector. We'll see what his second sector's like in about 5 seconds' time. Oscar Piastri to the line. Stays P7. Max Verstappen, he is improving, and it's up by nearly 0.3 over Leclerc at this point in time. It's 33.7. Alex Albon improving, personal best. First, second sector. Gasly is also improving as well. So the timing screen's lining up here. Max Verstappen to the top. He's done 11.233. That lap from Max Verstappen in 18.94 in the last sector. Alex Albon up at P4. Pierre Gasly coming through the final corner. Kimi Antonelli is also improving down in P13. What does Pierre Gasly do on this lap? It's up to P11. Kimi Antonelli P14 at the moment. Personal best first, second sector. This lap is going to be somewhere close to maybe Piastri. If he improves, maybe a bit further up. It's just a little bit off Piastri. About 0.1 off Piastri. He's in P8. George Russell, P9 at the moment, and he's running through out of the hairpin into turn 8. Now, and turn 9. Making his way towards Rascasse. For Russell into, this is Rascasse here. George Russell, 0.6 off the pace. He's about Hamilton in terms of the pace. He's just on Hamilton in terms of the pace. Maybe a little bit off. Yeah, but that margin between Verstappen and Leclerc, it's 0.3. Russell, what's this lap going to be? It's going to be somewhere up there, P7. So he's lost a bit of time in that last sector for George Russell. Most people on the soft compound tyres compared to medium compound tyres. Franco Colapinto getting right up close to the wall before he hits the hotel section. And that's too close to the wall for Franco Colapinto. This is Ollie Behrman into the swimming pool section. And that is the Alpine getting in the way. Using every bit of road on the left, right hand side. Had to back right out of that one. And Oliver Behrman, very much getting impeded. Lando Norris makes his way out, run up the hill, and that is the Aston Martin getting in his way. He's practically sitting in the middle of the road there, but Lando Norris not happy with that.
Oh, good.
Lando Norris very much not happy with the traffic here. This is Lando Norris now. He's done 11.603 on this lap from Lando. He's low speed corners. He's up on Leclerc. He's 0.1. So they've found 2/10 in the slow speed corners for Ferrari for Leclerc, which is very good because that's where they'll find their time. Now Leclerc, where is he? He's P2 at the moment. Nice through the hairpin. Making his way now down under the bridge for Lando Norris. Now this lap seems to be a warm-up lap for Lando Norris before the actual lap that he does. Lewis Hamilton attempting to be the first driver to win at Monaco for 3 different constructors. He's going to attempt to do that this weekend, and if he can, that would be quite an epic stat against Lewis Hamilton, as if he doesn't have enough stats to his name. The time to beat here in this third practice session with 25 minutes to go. It's a 1:11.2 track record around here. 2019, Lewis Hamilton 10-1, Bottas 10-2, Verstappen 10-6, Ricciardo 10-8, and Vettel back in 2018. He done an 11-0. So the track physical lap record is a 1:10.1. We nearly broke that. I think we did break that yesterday, to be honest, with the really fast track conditions. Well, at least we got close to breaking it there, but it was close enough. The 2025 Grand Prix de Monaco Formula 1 Tag Heuer Grand Prix de Monaco 2025 third practice session is currently underway. Let's send it back to your Sky Sports commentators.
The separated nose, the nose a little bit further up, allowing that better bite from the front wing main plane. So Max with the new, even so with Yuki with the old, as an afterthought from his, or a consequence of his Imola crash. Yuki is actually up there in qualifying. So, yeah, they found it once again, haven't they? They found the setup once again, like they always do.
The guy who was on pole last year and the guy who was on pole the year before that are the two that are out in front currently, separated by a couple of tenths of a second. Max Verstappen and Charles Leclerc. Norris and Hamilton third and fourth. Hamilton half a second adrift of Max. Yuki Tsunoda at 6 as Ted was saying. with Liam Lawson a few moments ago, and then we heard this from Carlos Sainz.
I'm happy the car's giving me a good feeling. It's just, I need to see where I can be quicker.
James Fowles is the team principal at Williams. He's with us on the pit wall this weekend. Can you shed some light on that message? Where can Carlos be quicker? Because it seems he's struggling just a touch at the moment, James.
There's a few areas he's losing a tiny bit in turn 1, a tiny bit in 3, 4 relative to Alex. Those are sort of the primary gains and losses. But what he'll do now, what he really means is he needs to spend some time looking at things like it's in front of me in the garage so that he can go back out and work on those areas. Hey James, Jensen.
Hi, Jason.
We've just been talking a lot. I know we're looking towards qualifying right now. We've just been talking a lot about the race and strategy. Have you guys been hard at it with working on strategy and finding a special way to get that podium this year?
I think the podium is unfortunately far-reached, but what they've been definitely doing is making sure that we have the right cars for qualifying, which then leads into the race. So, yes, stability in the race, but a lot of it really depends on whether you qualify 5th or 8th or 12th, which that will obviously figure out tonight. What they've mainly been looking at is actually, do we use the medium or the soft come quality, which I still think is a question many teams will be asking themselves.
Well, James, we've seen Max Verstappen, for example, on the medium tire looking very quick in this session, but it's complicated, isn't it? Because it looks like the medium is going to be a race tire for the race tomorrow as well. Just so fans at home to understand, you know, that allocation surely is key to make the decision for today as well, isn't it?
Yes, so exactly that. When the gentleman was asking about what I more meant was the impact is what tyres we run now in FP3 and how we run qualifying. But I think the medium's looking good as a race tyre and maybe as a qualifying car.
So you're keeping a set back for qualifying. Where do you use it? Get out of Q1, get into Q3, or where?
Well, we've got 2 sets, and you'll find out in qualifying.
Oh, stop this! You know how impatient I am. So can you tell me, are you keeping 2 sets back for qualifying, or does one of those need to be a race tyre as well?
I'll let you know post-session.
James Fowles, you spoil all my fun. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Grinning as he says it. Or can the medium tyre can you do a Q1?
Max Verstappen currently on the moment on a lap. It's purple first sector. And not so quick through the second sector. But tyres are going to be a big factor, as you heard there. Crofty's talking about up in the com box there. But very important factor for this race, for qualifying and for the racing a bit later on today, is to, if you use the soft compound tyre in qualifying or you use a medium set and you quite possibly waste, well, not really waste, but you take a bit of the goodness out of the tyre for the race. It's either one, and it's risky either way to do either one of those things there. But Lewis Hamilton currently on a lap. He's about 0.3 off the pace of Max Verstappen. This is going to be about 11. This is going to be about an 11.5. Hamilton at the moment he's on 11.7. See what this lap is. He is going to be somewhere maybe P3. Lost about 0.4 in that. Lost about half a second in the final sector there. He's done an 11.6. So that's not too bad, but it's a personal best for Hamilton. Carlos Sainz on a lap, personal best first sector. Yuki Tsunoda's also on a lap as well, who's actually just about 10 seconds behind Carlos Sainz. We'll see what Carlos can do. Personal best first sector, personal best second sector through the final corner, and Carlos Sainz is P6, 0.66 off pace for Carlos. Liam Lawson P17 at the moment, hoping that they can get further than Q2, make a Q3 appearance at this point in time. Liam Lawson at the moment, he's on a lap. It's going to be better than his teammate at this point if he doesn't back out of it. It will definitely put him up there. But showing by the pace, Tsunoda saying, I've got so much instability, I don't know why. Lawson staying P17 does not improve. 1.6 seconds off the pace, 12.8. So he lost about 6/10 in that final sector. Leclerc through the final corner and is P2. Now we saw yesterday Leclerc was able to consistently pull laps out of the bag, lap after lap, and was able to improve. Today, he's not able to do that. There, Max Verstappen. Now the lap that Leclerc just did was on a brand new set of softs. Verstappen, over the radio, a lot of four-wheel sliding in turn 8 and the last corner. So, four-wheel sliding, that's really strange. So maybe that could be a camber thing. Or, yeah, that's actually strange, really. This circuit being such a high downforce circuit, you tend to have more grip. So maybe that's a grip thing for Red Bull. Struggling for grip. This is a really high downforce circuit in terms of the cornering and the bumps. If you don't have high downforce, then that's a bit of a problem there. But we've seen that in the past. That's four-wheel sliding. That's really strange. Because, yeah, I don't know. That's something that's really strange for the Red Bull team. But they've been struggling with that sort of stuff for most of the weekend so far. Definitely not looking in the best of shape at the moment. But, yeah, that's also really strange. Lando Norris at the moment, he's up in the second sector. He's 0.27 off. He's going to improve on his personal best. It's not going to put him anywhere unless he finds 3/10. Verstappen saying, I just have no grip. Just no grip. So no grip whatsoever for Max Verstappen. Lando Norris improves, but he's now only 0.02 off of Leclerc, and he's doing now a few laps in a row. Slow speed corners, a problem for Leclerc, struggling very much, and it's showing because Norris is gaining on him a lot at this point in time. Alex Albon, at the moment, through the tunnel of turn 9, and making his way through into the chicane. Personal best first sector at the moment. Bit of a slide on exit of turn 11. This is turn 12. Into now the swimming pool section, turn 16. Bit of a slide out of there. So Williams struggling here with a bit of tail happy. Very tail happy out of corner exit. That time it didn't look too. Oh, there you go. Bit of a slide. That time from Albon. He'll lose a bit of time here. He lost nearly 4/10. Quite a significant drop. Yuki Tsunoda saying car's not stable. Leclerc at the moment, his car doesn't look too bad. A little bit tail happy through turn 17 and turn 18. Just a little bit. Leclerc through the final corner now and making his way up to the line. This isn't going to be an improvement. This is more or less maybe a bit of a race run from Leclerc. Oscar Piastri improving to the first sector. Personal best. So green at the moment. It's not going to put him to the top, and definitely not through that second sector. 7/10 off the pace there, so dropped out of it there for Piastri. Hamilton, personal best first sector. All about that second sector. Hamilton looking quite quick. It is nearly a 10th off Verstappen. This lap's going to be pretty good. It's going to be a 2-3 for Ferrari at the moment. Piastri up at P6, 0.6 off the pace. Hamilton on to improve on this lap. This isn't going to be too bad for him. As he comes to the line, Lewis Hamilton has lost about 0.2 in that last sector. He stays P4. Moves up to P4. Bortoleto at the moment, he's improving by nearly half a second on his personal best. This lap's looking good as well. Everybody's improving. The track is coming to them. Bortoleto, this lap is about P10 at the moment. Can he go to P10, or will he lose a significant amount of time? Have the tyres dropped off by the end of the lap? They have. They've dropped off by the end of the lap. 12.6. That's a personal best for Gab Bortoleto. Nice. Personal best first and second sector. Russell not improving to the first sector. We'll see what this lap is now like for Nice. As he comes to the line, personal best for both sectors. Losing time in that last sector. So drivers, tyres drop off by the end of the lap, and you're not able to find any more lap time out of them. Such high downforce. Ocon moves up into P19. For P20, Russell, no improvement. He's nearly 1.6 seconds off the pace through the second sector. This lap is not so much an improvement. Definitely not so much an improvement. Kimi Antonelli improving. Russell does not improve. He does a 12.068. Antonelli improving personal best for the Italian as he runs through the chicane. See the G-forces that occur through braking and through throttle. It's about 4 Gs as you run through there. Flat stick. And then into the slow sort of right. As everybody's on the soft tyres at the moment. Verstappen's just come out on a brand new set of softs. So expect some improvement from him. Kimi Antonelli, 0.7 off the pace, P9. 0.78 off the pace. There with 9 minutes to go. So far the only red flags in FP1 and FP2. There is the owner of Pirelli sitting, or standing in the Mercedes garage, watching on Kimi Antonelli. At the moment, Nice is about 0.4 a second faster through the low speed corners. So McLaren now suffering with a bit of low speed corner issues. Piastri though, look at that. It's purple to the second sector, the first purple I've seen in a while. It's the fastest actually, 33.7. This lap's going to be pretty good from Oscar Piastri if he can stitch it together through the final corner. And this lap's not going to be too bad. It's P2 from Oscar Piastri, 0.1 off the pace, 11.40 for Oscar Piastri. Pierre Gasly's improving. Is this lap going to put him inside the top 10? As he comes to the line, what's this lap like? P12, it's just outside the top 10, 12.19. Fernando Alonso, P17 at the moment, no improvement to the first sector. Going to expect that to maybe stay the same through the second sector at this point in time. It's actually improving. It's not looking too bad. It's about Carlos Sainz pace through the second sector. About P7 at this point through my maths. 7.5 minutes to go in the final practice session for Formula 1. Fernando Alonso to the line. P11, so lost about 2/10 in that final sector. 12.10 for Fernando Alonso. Carlos Sainz stays where he is. P7 for Verstappen on our lap on the medium compound tyres. Testing if it's worth it.
You tell me what you want, because at the moment we're nowhere enough from that idea this session. So we're doing the double call.
Yep, here's an idea for you. Charles Leclerc fastest to the middle parts.
Leclerc fastest through the middle part of the circuit. Purple to the second sector. This lap is not looking too bad for Leclerc as he runs through turn 19, the final corner, and makes his way now to the line. It is to the top. It's at 11.17, the first 11.1 that we've seen this session. Yesterday we were seeing 10.2, so nearly a second off the pace of the track, about a second slower. By the end of the session, we got down to an 11.1, so track not improving rapidly like we saw, so the soft tyres not looking as quick in this session, and Ferrari definitely still keeping their pace up. 9,000s up through the second sector. This is Lando Norris. No improvement to the first sector. Real close to the wall, and again, real close to the wall. Once again, extremely close to the wall. Lando Norris is up to the second sector. This is looking quick as he uses every bit of curb through turn 17. 33.6. It's about 0.1 faster than Leclerc. This is going to look good for Lando Norris if he can go to the top of the session. Can he go to the top? He will not. It's 0.1 separating the top three.
Already, man. It's undrivable, these tires.
But he's nearly 700s. Oh.
Undrivable, these tyres for Max Verstappen. The soft tyres. He's not liking the soft rubber for Max Verstappen. The car's not tuned to it. Lando Norris is continuing on. These tyres are looking good. 0.01 off of Leclerc. He's actually backed out of it into the hairpin. Lewis Hamilton, he's improving first sector, is looking shiny. It's magenta all the way through for Lewis Hamilton. He might have got held up by the McLaren behind him. But we will see. Lewis Hamilton under the bridge. Has he backed out of this lap? I think he has. What a shame, because he was on to actually improve on that lap. It was purple first sector. He's actually ended up going wide through the chicane. He was on for an improvement there. That is Leonard Ice using every bit of curb. And using every little bit of track as well. So drivers even still pushing to the limits. Yeah, this is why Lewis Hamilton backed out of this lap.
That's why he, that's what Fernando said there. It wasn't his choice.
Just saying, lots of traffic, mate. Not able to get the qualifying simulation down pat. Verstappen, no improvement first, second sector. He's struggling to find time on the soft rubber. Leclerc's improving though. He's just 14 seconds in behind him. He's improving quite rapidly. Leclerc is rapid to the second sector. Nearly 3/10 up on Max Verstappen. Verstappen has done an 11.35. He's nearly 3/10 off the pace. Well, 2/10 off the pace. Leclerc, he's on to improve. He's going to go fastest. It's going to be a 10.9. It is. 1:10.95 from Charles Leclerc. The Italiano go. The Italian team is P1 and P5, both inside the top 10. There, Leclerc, a 10.95, plays at an 11.1 from Verstappen. Oscar Piastri, quick at the moment. He's proving that because he's personal best, not so quick to the second sector. No improvement for the moment. 3 minutes to go in this session here. As Piastri comes to the line. And we'll see what this lap is like for Oscar Piastri. P4, no improvement, 11.398. Tom Stallard, the race engineer for Oscar Piastri, not exactly in tune with that one. Liam Lawson, P7 at the moment. He's heading through turn 11 and yellow flag at the moment through that first sector, and Liam Lawson's backed out of that one. So traffic becoming a real factor in FP3. It is a struggle for absolutely everyone out there. 2.5 minutes left to go in this session. Ollie Behrman now running through into the chicane where he's seeing a lot of struggle with traffic. Personal best first sector for Ollie Behrman. Second sector is about 1.1 seconds off. Is there going to be any improvement? It's going to be about an 10th improvement. It's going to be about P11 at this point for Ollie Behrman. This is looking good for Haas. As there's a yellow flag in sector 1. Well, there's a yellow flag somewhere. We're going to say, oh, big crash from Lewis Hamilton. Hamilton, big crash. And wow. Send it back to your Sky Sports commentators.
Unusual place for a car to be hitting the barriers. Now I wonder, has he had a bit of a tank slapper there, and that's just waggled at the rear and thrown him completely out of kilter?
Yeah, it looks like he might have had a moment, I'm assuming, coming around to see the Hotel de Paris, the left-hander, and touched the outside barrier, or has he kissed the inside barrier at Casino Square, the right? We'll have a look in a moment, I'm sure. But it looks, generally, it's the outside barrier that you end up hitting when you just carry a bit too much speed, which is actually, Crofty, I'm not seeing about Fernando Alonso, 2010 in a Ferrari. Yeah. Exactly the barrier Fernando Alonso hit in a Ferrari.
It was. Felipe Massa, did he hit Massenet once as well in an FP3 session here, a little bit sooner than that. Might need a gearbox change, they're not going to get a penalty for that, but that's right on board. Up Boulevard we go. Massenet is the long left-hander, and then we get into Casino Square and see and that's where it started. So it was Massenet. That was exactly where Fernando Alonso hit.
I mean, I don't know what he was going to do if he did crash, because he was going to crash into the cars in front.
guys, bit of dampening them. Sorry, guys.
Yeah. But this is the problem. You're arriving at such a high speed there on the limit, and you've got a car in front which is losing you all your downforce on entry. So, you know, it's Lewis's mistake, but I mean, he's definitely not in a. It's not an easy situation for him at that point.
Accurate give the gearbox, I think.
So
Because
they'll change it.
yeah, I think to be safe, they've been burned here once before, haven't they, with Leclerc, where they didn't change the gearbox. You know, when he crashed in qualifying on that occasion because of the penalty implication.
Yeah, they check things over and then the next day they start the race.
And I think it's not worth the risk.
What did you say, Crash? Lewis, in turn 3.
Exactly. From the highs of Charles Leclerc, fastest in that session, to the lows for Lewis Hamilton, who has crashed at Massenet. 5th fastest, but he was trying to improve his pace at the end of that session. And, well, there's evidence once again, JB, that mistakes are easy to find right here.
Yeah, they are, and you know, I have to put some of that down to personally that there was a car in front. It definitely hurts your downforce through there. You're so loaded up through that corner, massively high-speed corner. You're risking a lot at this point. You've got low fuel, trying to get that last lap before qualifying, and you know, a loss of downforce definitely is hurting there.
No surprises that the session wasn't resumed. Checkered flag should have come out, actually, because we've now gone past 1:30 in the afternoon. That is it for practice. And I think the upshot is that in these conditions, Ferrari are still very much in it, and Charles Leclerc, if it was qualifying purely on confidence, he'd be on pole position already.
Definitely, you know, especially because he did it right at the end. You know, Max has had a couple of tough laps out there, but it's fresh in Charles' mind how quick he's been. Obviously, we're not going to get the practice starts, which is not a great thing for the teams. You know, they need that information.
They've only got, what, 159 metres from pole to the first corner. They don't need practice starts here, JB. They've done enough of that in the past. For me, Charles Leclerc, high on confidence, flying, finding the way to treat the tyre. Track conditions are going to change a bit before qualifying. Does that bring Verstappen back into play? But where are McLaren here? They seem to be losing a lot of time in that first sector that they're finding very difficult then to fully make up.
Yeah, exactly. That middle sector is very strong, as good as anyone, and sector 3 very close. But it's the first sector, 2 or 3 tenths down, and it's such a short sector as well. It's 18 seconds long. It's you know, 3 corners,
and it's mainly straights.
Yeah, it is. It's the drag up the hill which is the biggest one.
So can they take a little bit of wing off? Does that give them a bit more of a helping hand?
I'm wondering if it is that, or if they're just not getting the tyres working for turn 1. They don't have the confidence to hit the brakes hard like the Red Bulls and Ferraris.
Oscar Piastri, 4th fastest in that session. As he wanders away to the briefing rooms, Williams were right up there. Albon and Sainz. Race control have just noted Antonelli and Ocon, who were the cars ahead of Lewis Hamilton at Massenet. And the stewards might have a little look at that if they take, or race control take a view that the stewards should. And you say, Jenson Button, you know, that could well be down to the cars in front causing that accident, because they were going too slowly, they were too close to a racing line, and Hamilton was being affected by it. We'll see what happens ahead of qualifying. We already know that Lance Stroll were 1 place and Ollie Bearman were 10 places, go in with grid penalties that they picked up yesterday. But what an intriguing session that was. Practice 3 for the Monaco Grand Prix, and Charles Leclerc, fastest again. He returns as the winner from last year, and so far no one's been able to catch him in the practice sessions, but now it starts to get a bit serious. Verstappen setting his fastest time on the medium tyre. Who will use the medium tyres in qualifying and when? Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri, 3rd and 4th, Hamilton 5th, Ferrari with a slight rebuild on his car in the next couple of hours. Franco Colapinto has been noted for a red flag infringement. Could that be another penalty coming? Did he overtake as Ollie Bearman did yesterday? Stewards will be looking at that one. Out of place, Kimi Antonelli, George Russell down in 11th place. Where's Mercedes pace for this one? There's a lot of questions still to be answered, and in qualifying, they will finally be done so. What a practice session that was.
Indeed, what a practice session that was there. Of course, I will be back once again to stream the Italian F4 Championship in just a little while from now. That will be in actually 5 minutes. I'll be back in a couple minutes' time for the Italian F4 Championship from 10:05. See you then. Bye-bye.